Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Off-Road Hub. My name is Ken. Today I brought you outside, out of my dark garage, so that I could show you something pretty cool. I've got a couple visual and practical changes coming to the FJ in this episode. And the main reason I wanted to bring you out into the daylight is to show you this. That's right, those graphics I was talking about last video, or the video before, can't remember. Well, here they are. The design of the decals are mine, reminiscent of other decals you've seen on old Toyotas and other FJ Cruisers, but still fairly original-ish. The colors, orange, match my orange on my parts underneath. This is Toyota gray and black. Can't go wrong with that. But yeah. I think it looks pretty slick. Now you guys may have noticed this logo on the side of my vehicle. That's because Apache Offroad.com has sponsored these graphics for me very generously. Thank you guys. And I just want to tell you that I'm a big fan of this company. They've really got it together. If you drive any kind of Toyota four-wheel drive or Lexus, they are the place to go for lift and suspension parts. If you don't know what you need, contact them. They'll help you. Don't go on Facebook and ask in a group what kind of lift you should get. Contact these guys. They'll tell you. And they don't just sell this stuff, they actually use it. The owner of the company drives an FJ Cruiser every day, and a lot of the employees drive Toyota four-wheel drives. And they're also working to come out with new products. They're developing new things to make Toyota 4x4s even better. So keep an eye out on their website for new products that they are actually developing themselves. It's a pretty exciting company. So the graphics look pretty cool, but I'm also going to be addressing something else in this video, and that is these big bug-eyed taillights. When Toyota designed these things, I'm not exactly sure why they made them stick out so far, but they definitely do. They protrude out a lot. So for the solution to that, I've got to go back into the dark garage. So here we go. See, it fits in the garage like a glove. Oh, I forgot to also mention that if you would be interested in having this simple yet elegant design on the side of your FJ Cruiser, minus the Off-Road Hub logo and the Apache Offroad logo, unless you want those logos on the side of your vehicle, but just the basic design, if you wanted that on the side of your FJ Cruiser, I could make that happen for you in any colors you would like. If that interests you, email me. All right, so back to these taillights. You can see that this one is taped together. It's super glued and taped. I broke that one in Sand Hollow. And this one doesn't look quite as bad. It's got a crack and an opening right there, but it's broken. And I broke that just a couple weeks after I broke that one. Come on back. So these things aren't gonna cut it for me. They just stick out so far that everything loves to catch them. So the solution to this are flush mount taillights. Now for a long time, to the best of my knowledge, there's only been one option for FJ Cruisers for flush mount taillights. But now, thanks to Eric over at Trail Fab, there is another option for you. The Trail Fab lights come with these steel buckets that mount where the current taillights go. And then these LED lights go into the bucket for a nice clean look. Now something that I really like about these Trail Fab lights is that the lights themselves are round, and that really fits the FJ a lot better than, say, a rectangle. If you look at the taillight, the factory taillight, you can see that it's round, and the light in the mirror is round. And the headlights, of course, are round. And even the turn signal light is round. So having round taillights just makes sense, right? So the first step to changing out these taillights is obviously to remove these old ones. And that'll be a fairly simple task for me since I have so much of my plastic removed back here. So I won't be able to demonstrate exactly how to get to those bolts for most people that still have their interior plastic intact. But just know that there are 3 bolts with nuts, 1, 2, and 3. And then the lights are just connected back here. You can pull those out just like that. And boom, removed, easy. Now you'll also have to remove this black plastic, which is normally held in by 2 bolts, which I have already removed. And then it just pops right out of there like that. So now with the old taillights out of the way, I can continue to the next step. Now these buckets don't just fit in there quite yet. There's just not quite enough clearance. So this installation will require a little bit of cutting and drilling. Now Eric was super cool to get me a set of these super early, so they're super early production. I didn't get any instructions or templates or anything for the cutting or drilling, but I'm fairly certain that the kit that you get will come with those type of instructions. So I'm gonna make cuts that make sense to me. And while this may not be exactly what you end up doing, I'm sure that it'll be pretty close. So I'm gonna cut out this right here. And this is just thin sheet metal right here. Nothing structural or anything like that to worry about. There's no wiring right here, so it's fairly straightforward and simple. And I'm also gonna make a cut right up here. Actually, there's this raised part right here, and I think I'm gonna actually have to cut up to here, just about like that. So now the new taillight housing fits in there just perfectly. Now I'll just throw a little touch-up paint on these bare edges, just so they don't rust. So I need some mounting holes. Mine didn't come with mounting holes. Like I said, these are early production. I imagine that they will come with pre-drilled holes in the future. So I've got to drill these 3 holes on the corners. I already did this one, and now I'll do this one. Drilling mounting holes in the body will also be required. So just put this up here, and then I can mark where my holes need to be. So now that those holes are drilled, I'm going to use this type of bolt hole maker. I don't know what you call that. It's a clip, it's got threads there. So you can stick it on a hole like that. You stick one on there, right up there, and then one over here. And now this can go on here, and I'll be able to bolt it to the body. So let me tell you about these lights. These are actually from a company called Max Built. There's all their social medias right there. And they're pretty simple. There's just a sealed LED unit with 4 wires coming out the back, your brake, your marker, your reverse, and your turn. Pretty simple stuff. But these are super high quality, waterproof, and everything else. and they connect. I'm gonna hook them to the body here. Well, the tail light buckets. The wires obviously go through the big hole right there, and then there's 2 bolt holes, as you can see, go all the way through, and it'll just bolt in there. It'll come with these bolts, and these are intended by Max Built to be bolted to the back of a Jeep TJ or JK, and these holes actually correspond to the holes in the bodies of those vehicles, and so those will bolt directly into those vehicles. But for the FJ Cruiser flush mount taillights, this is what they look like bolted in, and there's the wires coming out the back, and just like that. Real simple. All right, so now for the wiring. I've hung my my housing here, but with a zip tie just for convenience sake. Wiring can be scary and intimidating for a lot of people. And good news, by the time you buy these taillights, there's going to be a plug-and-play harness available. But that just is not available at the time I made this video, so I'm just going to hardwire this in the old-fashioned way. One thing about these Max Built lights, before I forget, they have a lifetime warranty. A lifetime warranty even if you destroy them against a rock or anything like that. That is awesome. They will cover these if they stop working for any reason. That's a pretty big deal. So the wiring, this took some figuring out, and just be very glad that a plug-and-play harness is going to be available probably by the time you want to order these, so it'll be super easy. But figuring out the wiring myself was a little bit of a challenge. So like I said, these lights were intended for like a Jeep TJ, and so it references those wire colors right here and how they connect to the Max Built light. And there's 4 wires. Ground, very simple. Reverse, single wire, very simple. Oh, and one thing, the ground is a common ground for the entire unit, so that makes it even more simple. You don't need a ground for each bulb like in the FJ original taillights. So reverse, very simple, single wire. Now here's where it gets complicated. The brake and turn on the Jeep TJ, and what this is designed for, it's 1 wire. On the FJ, it is 2 separate wires. So you've got 2 separate circuits, one for brake, one for turning, and that really complicated things. And that's because you have to hook both circuits to 1 wire. And if you just connect both circuits to 1 wire, the yellow wire, brake, turn, yellow, power feeds back through each of the circuits. So when you turn on your left turn signal, all the brake lights start blinking. And that doesn't work. Or, yeah, that's really the main problem. So anyways, I had to get some diodes, one here and one here. What a diode does, in case you don't know, it only allows electricity to travel in one direction. So this isolates each of these separate circuits from each other. So when you turn on the turn signal, it doesn't flash all of the brake lights. And it turns out buying diodes is extremely difficult. Where do you go to buy a diode? It turns out none of the parts stores or trailer stores, nobody sells diodes except for Radio Shack. And we have a Radio Shack just down in Idaho Falls. It was amazing because other than that, forget about getting diodes unless you order it online, and I didn't have time for that. And back to that common ground thing in the Max Built light. So each one of these circuits has its own ground for the old bulbs. Each one has a ground. These grounds are now irrelevant because the Max Built light just takes 1 ground, and I just grounded that to the body right there. So right now these wires are a big mess. I'm gonna get these cleaned up, everything all soldered together and shrink wrapped and everything, and then we'll be able to actually put the lights into the back of the FJ. There we go, all wired up pretty neatly. And the passenger side. So now I'll just get all these clips on both sides and get these lights bolted up. All right, all bolted up, and I think they look amazing. They look great. They're all tucked in here behind the body, and I really like the round tail light look. It fits the vehicle perfectly. So there's only one thing left to take care of. The driver's side actually blinks just fine, but the passenger side is hyper flashing. I was actually expecting both sides to hyper flash. I almost cheated it. But down at O'Reilly Auto Parts, I picked up this flasher that's made for LED bulbs. This is the one that I got, but if you order this, this relay flasher will come in the kit. So now I just need to figure out where it goes in here. All right, so here is the original, and here's the aftermarket one. They look identical, except they're different colors, gray and tan. And it turns out that it's located on the back side of this panel. So you need to reach up, way up underneath and behind, and you'll find it there. Maybe you can see it through the mirror. It's that gray box right there. It's not the easiest thing to get to. I highly recommend you use a mirror to avoid having to stand on your head. All right, guys, I think it's time for a little light show. All right, we've got marker lights. We've got left turn signal, right turn signal. Let's see, brakes, and reverse. Those are super bright. If you notice, there are a ton of LEDs on here. Some cheaper LED aftermarket lights. You'll notice that there are fewer of these, but this one is absolutely packed, and they're super bright and awesome. And they've got that no matter what lifetime warranty, which, that's great. So just to review, these lights are going to come in a plug and play kit. They'll come with the lights, they'll come with the housing here, and you will have to do the cutting and drilling, but if you can install a bumper or something like that, this is easier than installing a bumper. And I think the payoff is almost as good because it adds functionality and that you're not going to hit it on things, and they look really awesome. The complete kit is going to be for sale very soon on the Freedom Retrofits website. You may recognize that name. They do HID retrofits for FJ Cruisers and some other vehicles. And these, as a complete kit, are going to be available on that website very soon. But until then, contact Eric at TrailFab on Instagram, and he'll get you hooked up. I'm super excited about these new graphics and how they look with the new lights. The FJ's taken on a whole new appearance in this video. And again, big thanks to Apache Offroad. Go check them out if you're in need of a lift for your Toyota. Thanks as always for joining me on this one. Sorry this video came out late. I am planning on having it out Tuesday morning, so you might be watching this on Tuesday morning. Honestly, it just took forever to find some diodes. Impossible to get here in Eastern Idaho at least. So, but I'm glad it finally worked out and I got everything installed and it all works great. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already so you can join me most every Mondays and Thursdays for new content, and we'll see you next time, guys.